Again, Year 5, this is your Wednesday's literacy lesson. We're going to start very quickly with this fag start because I want to give you as much time to write about Earth as possible. So, we're thinking about bullet points today. So, I want you to see if you can turn this shopping list into a bullet point list. So, I need to buy eggs, milk, potatoes, bananas, and toilet roll. Try and turn that into a bullet point list. Write in your book so I can mark it when you hand your books in on Friday. Off you go. Right, I'll move on quickly because you'll be coming back from that, and like I say, I'll be checking those with you on Friday to make sure you've got them right. So, there are several ways that you complete that task. What differences do you notice? So, we can use these using this bit of punctuation, full stops, or we could use no full punctuation. So, these are called semicolons. You'll notice they look a bit like a colon, like this here, but they have a comma at the bottom rather than a full stop. So, we can see bullet points in a lot of places. Just to go by, all of those ways would have been acceptable. So, shopping lists, names in a class or team, presentation notes, survey questions, science resources list. So, bullet points don't have to be dots, but they should all be the same in one list, so they've been used as arrows. Make sure each point is clearly different from the others, so names in the class and survey questions are obviously different. And an introduction phrase or title for the list, which is often called the stem. So, we can see that what the bullet points are for. If we don't give it a title, they're just random things, aren't you, that they've done in a weird list. So, when we use bullet points, we need to consider what we are using them for. This will help us decide which punctuation to use. So, these bullet points have been used to make a list of items. The colon introduces the list, so that I will underline in green. So that, or I'll circle it rather in green. Semicolons are used after each item, which I will circle in red. So that's those that we've just spoke about. The last item has a full stop after it, and you can see that there. And none of the items have capital letters, because it's just a list. It's like you were writing out a list like you would have done in that sentence, but you're just using a different format. Okay. The stem or title for the list does not have a colon. Because of this, no semicolons are needed. Each separate sentence has a full stop at the end, and the sentences are about different things. So the difference in this bullet point here, that's the wrong thing. The difference in this one here compared to this one is that this is just using singular words, isn't it? It's just listing items. This is listing sentences, so that's why it's different. Bullet points are usually used this way for fact boxes, which is obviously something that we're going to be looking at today for our magazines, because we're writing to inform. Fact boxes are a good way to inform the reader of certain facts that we're obviously going to use. Or something more formal than a list of items. So obviously that's quite informal. That's something that you need to buy. This is listing things off, isn't it, that you're going to do through the day. So, this is a very informal use of bullet points. So it just says stuff to do, get eggs, rubbish outside, bin, rent, stuff like that. So spelling, punctuation and grammar aren't important. So that's why all three would have been acceptable to use. So, this fact box is part of a report about space. Has it been punctuated correctly? So pause the video here, read through, make sure that it's alright. If you need to, rewind the video to any of this page, or this page. And yeah, have a go. Tell me if you can realise anything about it. Write it out if you need to, so I can see your work when you come to hand your work in a couple of days now. Right, so I'll use my pen just to show you. I'll use a blue pen to show that how I'm going to go back and correct these sentences. So, fascinating space facts. Because of Mars's lower gravity, you would weigh less there than you do on Earth. Venus spins in the opposite direction to the other planets. Uranus takes 84 Earth years to orbit the Sun. Right. I would look back at this page now because I can see that it's using sentences, is it? The first thing that I notice on the first one is that it doesn't have a capital, which I'm going to correct. I also notice that there's no full stops at the end, which there should be. Remember, these are just like normal sentences, just with these at the start. So they need to have proper punctuation like you would do if you're writing a normal sentence. Right, we'll move on. This is a list of ingredients in a recipe. Has it been punctuated correctly? Pause the video here. Go back to the other page if you can find it. And tell me if it's been done right. I'll give you a couple of seconds just to get on. So this list here, it's a very formal list, isn't it? It's for ingredients, so we're speaking quite posh. We want to help people, want to inform them. So the first thing that you'll notice is we don't have any of these, do we? If we've used the colon, we need to have semicolons all the way down. Apart from the bottom one, of course, which needs to have just the normal full stop, which yours should show. Right, and the last one. So I just made some quick notes on this one. I've tried to be as quick as I possibly can, apart from I've even been that quick. Look, I've missed a T on the end of wait. Oh no, that's meant to be wait. Sorry, I haven't. Right. I'm going through. I've just made some quick bullet points. I've not used a colon here, therefore I haven't used at the end. So I've been quite informal with that, haven't I? Which is why it's different. I've not even spelt things fully because I'm just trying to take notes so I can write something more formal. So I've used informal language and an informal way to do something very quickly. Right. I'll quickly fly through this again just because I want to save on time. So we're writing a non-chronological report, a magazine, to inform. And we're writing that because we want to create a magazine about space to give other people in other classes different information. So I want you to look back at your work and tell me what facts that you found about Earth, or if you've just made any notes, or if you want to have a quick Google. I'd probably list these down on a spare piece of paper or on the page next to the one that you're going to write on today, just so you've got something to refer back to. But I'll let you pause the video here and get on. I'm just cautious of time a bit. Obviously, I don't get long to record these videos. So I'm going to show you a good example of a paragraph about Earth. The first thing that you'll notice about it is that I've gone into a lot of detail, haven't I? So I know full well that you guys can go into as much detail as this, but if this seems like a bit too much to you, maybe just shorten it a bit, try to be more concise. I've tried to put as many facts in there as possible, so I will quickly read it. So, the subheading I've used is Earth, because that's what I'm writing about. You can change that to Our Planet Earth or something like that. It's your writing. As long as it has a good level of detail like this one does, I'm fine with it. So, Earth. Our planet is a world unlike any other. The third planet from the Sun, Earth, is the only place in the known universe confirmed to host life. That's us, animals and plants, isn't it? So, Earth orbits the Sun once every 365 days. Since our calendar years only have 365 days, we add an extra leap year every year to account for the difference. The difference being this 2-5. But once we have 0.25 a days, which is also known as a quarter. Once we have 4 quarters of a day, we get an extra one, don't we? Which is why leap years like last year happen. So, though we can't feel it, Earth zooms through its orbit at an average speed of 18.5 miles per second. Incredibly fast, isn't it? Earth is the 5th largest planet in the solar system. It is made up of 3 layers: the core, the mantle, and the crust. The core is the centre of the planet. The core is very hot. The mantle covers the core, and the crust is the Earth's thin, rocky outer layer. Planets, animals, and people live on the crust. The layer of gases surrounding the Earth is called the atmosphere. This is the air that living things breathe, so like humans and animals and plants as well. So, Earth's atmosphere goes up a few hundred miles above the surface. The atmosphere gets thinner as it gets farther from the surface. That's why you don't often see people really, really high, do you? Or if you see people climbing high mountains like Mount Everest, they tend to use oxygen and stuff like that, and why astronauts use oxygen in space, which again we looked at a couple of lessons ago, didn't we? So, it contains mostly water vapor, which is like steam, and oxygen. Earth has one natural satellite called the Moon. A satellite is an object, so I'm using sort of like parenthesis there or a subordinate clause just to bring extra information about what I mean by satellite. A satellite is an object in space that orbits another object of a larger size. The Moon is about 239,000 miles from Earth. So, I've also done a little fact box here of all about deserts. There are many different environments on Earth. One example of these are deserts. A desert is a region that receives less than 25 centimetres or 10 inches of rain per year, so that's not much rain at all. In any desert or arid, which means dry, see how I've used a thesaurus there. I'll underline that word for you quickly to up-level that word to make myself sound more formal. There is very little rainfall. Deserts have very dry soil due to the little rainfall and moisture that the area receives. Sand is usually found in deserts, and I've also used a little bit of a subordinate clause or relative clause there. And I've said, however, there can also be cold deserts, such as Antarctica. So you'll notice straight away that I've gone into as much detail as I possibly can there. I know full well some people will be able to write a more detailed, a better version than that. That's just sort of like a benchmark. Obviously, there's a huge amount of writing there. If that's a bit much for you, feel free to take a break in between or put some relaxing music on in the background to help you focus. But you should know a lot about Earth. We're in year 5 now. It's a planet that we live on. I know for a fact you can find out even more than you already did just by using a quick Google search, which is what I use to help me write this. And do the best that you can. And I look forward to reading these in a couple of days when you hand them back in on Friday. Of course, if you do need any help or you need me to give you a call about this, just get in touch with me using the YouTube. One last thing I will just underline in red just to make it a bit clear is this. Notice how I've used the colon from there just to make a list. I'm expecting some of my red group and even some of my orange group to be able to access that as well. I'm looking forward to reading that. So yeah, like I say, get in touch if you do need any help. Take care, and I will hopefully see you soon. Goodbye.